Hello guys and welcome to UAK Science with me, Mr. Elsmore. Today we're going to be learning about risk assessments. The first thing you need to do is access the Lesson 1 document on risk assessments and answer those questions. Please pause the video while you do that. Time to go through the answers. The first question wants 5 rules about safety in a science lab, and obviously it's things like wearing goggles when doing experiments, following teacher's instructions, reporting spillages to the teacher, and handling glassware carefully. The second question wants us to define the following words: hazard, risk and control. A hazard is an object that's likely to cause something to happen, like broken glass or a naked flame. A risk is what could happen because of that hazard, getting a burn from a naked flame or getting a cut from some broken glass that hadn't been dealt with properly. And C is looking for what a control is. A control is something that you would do to prevent yourself from being injured, like cleaning up broken glass, taking care when handling naked flames, and also just being aware generally and following safety instruction. Number 3 wants you to draw a table for a risk assessment you could use for any practical. That will need to feature the first column with hazard, the second column is going to be risk, and the third column is going to be control. For number 4, a risk assessment for boiling water using a Bunsen burner, you would want to identify the hazards first. So you've got a Bunsen burner with a naked flame, you've got hot equipment, you've got glassware, you've got liquids. You can pick any 3 of those 4, or do all 4 if you like. You could set your hair or your clothing on fire with a Bunsen burner. You could burn yourself on the hot equipment. You could slip on spilled liquids, or you could cut yourself on broken glass. Those are the risks. Controls are that you will make sure your hair is tied back and that you don't have any loose clothing for the Bunsen burner. You'll control the risk of the liquid by cleaning up any spillages or reporting them to a teacher. You will control broken glass by reporting any breakages to a teacher and making sure that nobody comes near it. And you can control the hot equipment by allowing it to cool down before you start to pack it away. As a starter for the second part, I want you to have a look at this. If we start at the back left, you've got someone throwing a rubber across the classroom. To his right, you've got somebody playing with live wires that are bare, getting electrocuted. You've got somebody eating in a science lab. You've got somebody sat down, facing the untied hair towards a Bunsen burner that's not very well placed. You've got, on the opposite side, you've got somebody sat down during a practical, no goggles, knocking over a beaker full of chemicals probably. You've got somebody else reaching for a book that's got some broken glassware near it. On the next table, if we start on the left, we've got somebody sat down without goggles and they're touching hot beaker. And to his right, you've got someone pouring chemicals above head height, also no goggles. You've got someone heating a test tube full of liquid of some description, looking down it with no goggles. You've got somebody who appears to be doing something correct, but I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with it there. He's got goggles on, he's heating a test tube in a safe manner, looks quite good. Opposite him, you've got 2 people running, 2 boys running. You've got, to their left, you've got a big pile of bags that could be a hazard, people could trip over. You've got somebody leaning on a chair, no goggles, holding chemicals and near his face, not very good. And then we're back to the person with the hot equipment. It's a very, very disastrous lab situation that. I hope it's none of my classes ever like that. Today our learning objectives are to observe equipment and find hazards, describe how hazards can be harmful, explain how to control specific risks within a lab, and if you really want to challenge yourself, why do we make risk assessments in science lessons? Some key words for today are hazard, risk, control and risk assessment. The first 3 we visited in the recall at the start. So we've got some definitions. A hazard is an object that could cause harm, like a Bunsen burner. A risk is the potential damage the object would do. And a control is how you will prevent it from happening. So here we've got a situation with a person about to stand on a banana peel. You need to try and identify the hazard, the risk, and the control for this situation. Pause the video and write those down. Okay, well done. So the hazard is the banana peel. The risk is that the person could slip and injure themselves. And a control would be if somebody put it in the bin before this ever happened. We've got another scenario here. Please pause the video and write down the hazard, the risk, and a control. Okay, well done. This person is stood on a piece of branch that he's sawing off. That is a hazard. The risk is that he could fall and hurt himself, or worse. And a control would be to use a ladder or to stand on at least the piece of tree that's not being cut off. So we've got a lady that's walking a tightrope. What would be the hazard, the risk, and the control in this scenario? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, well done. So the hazard is that she could fall and hurt herself. The risk is that she could injure herself quite badly or maybe worse. And a good control would be to have a safety net underneath or a harness. You could put a harness on her maybe with another line above so she couldn't fall. So with a Bunsen burner, the hazard, the thing that could be dangerous, is going to be the Bunsen burner itself. The risk, what could happen to you, is set your hair on fire or burn you or something. And a control to prevent the risk, if you're talking about hair, you can tie the hair back. And if you're talking about clothing setting on fire, you can make sure there's no loose clothing. This is a practical that you've done before, or a similar practical you've done before in class. You can watch the video and please identify a risk, a hazard, or a control. Pause this video while you do that. Well done for having a go at that. Now you can use this model answer to red pen your work and you can decide which criteria you've met. This is about estimating risks. If you've identified 3 laboratory hazards, then you've got R1. To get R2, you need to have described the associated risks, so what could happen. To get R3, you need to explain how you would reduce the risks, so something to stop this from happening. R4, a specific explanation of how you would reduce the risks, each risk. So for our plenary, we're looking at another experiment now where you've got some acid and magnesium ribbon and we are measuring the gas coming off it in a trough of water. You need to try and identify 3 hazards and 2 risks and then tell us 3 controls to keep us safe. Challenge task. As teachers, we have to do risk assessments for you to do practicals. In all science labs, they also have risk assessments. Why are they so important? For lesson 3, we're going to do a risk assessments progress check. So you need to look through the method for a practical below, and we need to write a risk assessment on the practical, remembering to draw the table. You can do this on a computer by going to Insert Table and picking the correct size, or you can draw it on paper and take a photo for your teacher to mark. There's a challenge task also for this lesson. Watch the clip and write a risk assessment for this practical. Are there any safety rules they haven't done? Well done for your hard work during this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.